Tottenham, they're enjoying their best. What a weekend, though. What a win for Arsenal. And most significantly, what a win in terms of where this Premier League trophy is going to end up come the end of the season, because Spurs are top.
Yeah.
I bet you didn't react enough to that in the opener. I thought I'm going to have another go.
No, Kels, you don't need to, simply because I want Spurs to stay in and around it, because they've got to have the pressure of every week somebody saying, yeah, we'll see how you go. And then people start saying silly things like bottling it, whereas you've just got to stay there and just win the next game and see where you go. This is what happened with Leicester. You know, I'm just pleased that we're in it still. Like, you know, we needed to beat City. You know, if you're gonna win the league, the Premier League, and you're challenging City, then at some stage you're gonna have to beat them, because you've got to beat the teams around you. But I think it's a great result for us. But it's a good result for Tottenham because it was a tough game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really balanced, very calm answer that you're giving us on a Monday.
Because I went through this with Arsenal last season, so I'm not getting too carried away now.
Oh really? No, oh really? You're not getting too carried away.
No, I'm not getting carried away at all. No, see, that's out of context simply because that's like an
86-minute winner.
Yeah. So you're going to be excited, but like the reason why I'm excited is because we have to win the home games, right? And it is City, and they are, you know, the team that everybody's trying to beat. And it was a brilliant atmosphere in the stadium, and to score at that stage was brilliant. But like, again, it's just another brick in the wall for us.
Mm-hmm. Another brick in the wall, but a significant brick in the wall. If that's what Arsenal are trying to build, if they're trying to build towards a trophy at the end of this season, this is important.
Yeah, it gives them huge belief. I mean, they have to beat Man City, but they don't only have to beat them twice. Wright is absolutely right. They need teams in around them to beat Man City as well. They're the team everyone's chasing, let's face it. You know, they're proven winners, prolific winners of the competition. I just think that they need the likes of Tottenham to stay up there. They need to take points off them. Liverpool need to take points off them. Manchester United, if they can get into gear. Chelsea are coming.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very competitive at the moment. You know, it's a very exciting league. As we're very early in the league. We know that.
It does feel like we're more than 8 games into the season, because there's so much gone on already. And you're right, we can't start sort of predicting what's going to happen, but we're getting a bit of an idea as to where things, either where they're settling or where they might be going. But it wasn't the most exciting of games, Maiwa, in terms of, you know, action on the pitch. But it feels like a significant win. And more importantly, maybe for Arsenal, a deserved win.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't this entertaining game. But from a footballing perspective, seeing similar style teams go at each other was quite interesting. And I think Arsenal have to take those opportunities. No KDB, no Rodri. You're not going to get a better opportunity. And the fact that they can do that without their talisman being on the pitch, it shows a different sort of grit that loads of Arsenal sides have been mentioned not having before. So it was a really, really important win for them, and well deserved. It was a great performance all around.
You know, the thing is, I found the game, to be honest, was quite defensive in the way that it wasn't an attacking like fest, like, oh, they're attacking you. It felt that whoever's going to make that mistake defensively was going to lose the game. I didn't see it being a load of goals in this one, but I think that when you look at the way Arsenal changed it, he changed things. You know, unfortunately for Trossard, he got injured, but Martinelli coming on changed the dynamic for us with the pace what he brings. Then towards the end, there's Partey coming on, a little bit more stability in the back with somebody who's got control of the ball. And then the pass what he made is one of those passes that you're just not seeing RD now with certain teams. They'll rather just pass it around the side. He passed it, good run from Kai Havertz into the box, and then you're able to get in off the back of like their midfield, and then we get the deflection. But I thought that the changes he made and the players coming on, and you know what I mean, doing like Doku. When Doku come in, he had to take Zinchenko off because like when he went past him the first time, he just went, boom, that's enough of that. You know, but like you look at City and people saying, oh, Rodri, no KDB, any team's going to miss that. But they're still trying to bed players in. You know, Kovacic, you know, Doku coming on and trying to, Nunes. So there's still things that's happening where City are finding what they're trying to do. So if you can beat them, you've got to try and do it early now before they find their feet.
Yeah, and we'll come to City and how far off that performance is from where they potentially could be when those players are back. But from Arsenal's point of view, they didn't have Bukayo Saka either. That was the one that was making Arsenal fans nervous in the build-up to the game.
Yeah, listen, I think he's very close. He's not going to be out for long. Obviously, he was very close to it. not ready for the game. I just think that Declan Rice is a huge plus for them. If people ask, are Arsenal stronger this year than it was last year? Absolutely. When you sign a player like Declan Rice with his control, maturity in the middle of the pitch, breaks up the game. He's got more than that. But in the game yesterday, he knew his job was to break it up, was to fill in front of Saliba, Gabriel, just be a protector, and that's exactly what he done. You know, he's a nuisance for Pep Guardiola and teams like that. If you want to try and exploit and get into them little pockets, he just puts out fires all the time. He's always there. It's like a bad smell, just will not go away. And Arsenal, brilliant signing for them, absolutely magnificent. And get Saka. They're going to need to keep Saliba fit. And Gabriel.
Well, he said it himself, William Saliba. He said, I'm the difference.
Well, I think he said, if I would have stayed fit all last season, we would have won the league.
Yeah.
They probably would on the record. You know, but when he's missing, they're not the same. I mean, why Mikel started without him early on the season, without that partnership, you know, is beyond me. But they've clicked into gear now, and they look a real force, Arsenal. They really, really do. But I go again. We're only 8 games in, or wherever it is, and it's a very competitive league at this moment in time.
Yeah, he does make a big difference. It's better players, and does it feel like a more mature Arsenal as well, Mayowa?
Definitely. I think the last time when Arsenal City played, we saw Haaland's influence when he wasn't getting any joy with Saliba and he went over to Gabriel. That partnership in that game looked so much more efficient. They both knew how to handle it. You had Declan Rice performance. I didn't see anyone really taking onus of the game and saying that I'm going to win this big game for us. And there's still a lot more to come. A lot of people probably say their performances this season in some parts haven't been great, but a sign of a good team is you're able to win through adversity. So now, can they keep going with momentum is the key thing now. It's the perfect way to go into the international break.
But the thing as well, exactly, going into the international break, and the thing is that when you know, because they know they have to beat City at some stage. When you know that you do it and you can do it, and you can do it without, like you mentioned, our talisman in Saka. You could do it without your best player playing. That gives you such a confidence that you can beat anyone at home. And I'm not saying we played unbelievably, but they played well enough to beat the best team in the league. And that is now the pressure that they're on. All of them are on in that team, because now they have to go on and do it, because they've shown that they can beat the best. So they have to beat the rest. Do
they look like they've learned from last season?
I hope so. Still too early to tell. But the main thing is that they're not losing. If they were losing a couple of those games, you say, well, they haven't learned. Because what has to happen when you're starting the season with ambitions to win it, you cannot lose games. You just can't lose games. Especially, we didn't know City were going to lose 2 on the spin. Nobody could see that coming. So you have to try and stay, because you know that City are capable of getting 100 points in a season. Yeah. So you literally can't lose anything. So this is the mindset that they've got, and this is what they've got to do now. Those are the things they've got to take into games and say, we can't lose.
You look at Arteta's influence in that game, the changes that he made, all 4 substitutes being involved in the winning goal. And yes, there was the deflection to it, but Arsenal's overall performance and management of the game against Manchester City, and they're all positives for them. But as Wright alluded to earlier, this is a Manchester City side that aren't anywhere near the sort of their first choice starting 11 in this game. How much of a difference do you feel that made?
Well, the record shows that Rodri is huge. I mean, everyone's trying to spend 100 million plus on sitting midfield players, and he is the best. He's the best around in world of football. So they're going to miss him. They haven't won since he's gone out in the Premier League. He's back now, and maybe when you play players like Bernardo in the sitting midfield role, you can get away with it if you've got Kevin De Bruyne. They haven't got either Rodri or De Bruyne at the moment, so there's going to be huge misses to even a squad of players like Man City. They've coped in the past, but when they play against the best or the second best, which is Arsenal and the Liverpools and the Tottenhams at the moment this season, then they come unstuck. They need the best players back.
Yeah, they need their best players back, and we just saw the record without Rodri, as you say. There was the defeat by Newcastle in the League Cup, defeat by Wolves, and then followed by the defeat by Arsenal. In terms of pure Premier League games, they haven't had the most difficult start to the season. We know City aren't necessarily always fast starters to a season, but are we starting to see cracks appear? Because even if people were saying performances haven't quite been there at the early stages, they were still getting the results. It's like the City machine continues to thrive.
It's funny because after the 2 defeats, you think, is it a blip? Then after the big game defeat, you start thinking, well, the retaliation wasn't there. What's happened? And I think the Rodri missing is so key for them, because last year you had Gundogan who can sit in and he almost gives you the same. They don't have a like for like. Calvin Phillips, for whatever reason, is not really favoured. And it kind of shows you that they're looking for something where you start the first half with Bernardo Silva and then the second half you have John Stones in the same position. Both are not giving you what Rodri gives you. You look at, on the other side, Arsenal, Declan Rice in there, you can see what you need from that sort of role. So I think him coming back is major, but it then makes you ask the question, what if he was to get injured this season? Is that the opportunity that Arsenal would then get to go on a run? Because we can clearly see he is so integral to everything they do. I think they'll get back to winning ways. I mean, history shows the last time they lost back-to-back games, I think it was 15 games unbeaten. They went on afterwards. So that is a scary part from anyone competing, that they will be hurt by this and go on a run.
I think that the chance at the start is in the first 5 minutes with Nathan Ake. It changes everything, because, you know, if he takes that chance and say, the fact is that settles City down to then the emphasis is then on Arsenal to attack and do more, and then they may have picked them apart with Bernardo Silva. But when you miss chances like that as well, and then you're not quite firing, because like I say, you've got players in the team that are new to the team. I thought Gabriel played pretty well, but I thought Jesus gave him a bit of a run around on that left side. I was very surprised it wasn't Ake on that side. But anyway, it was like I say, more of a defensive game, and no one really stood out as an offensive force until Martinelli came on, and he's just so much energy, so much pace. But I think the game was very close, very tight, and in the end, it was going to take something like that for it to break the honours.
That's why for me, I give Arsenal a lot of credit in this game. You talk about the Ake chance that's missed, Alvarez with Rayo, that incident there, Kovacic, you know, being on the pitch. If you think about all of these little moments that happened, typically that's enough to make your head go. But they managed to keep to a game plan for long enough to be like, okay, how do we switch up and get one chance? It was just one ball over the top. But that 1 minute of doing something different breeds you this opportunity. So you've got to give credit, because typically that's not how that match typically goes for Arsenal against City.
He made the changes for it to happen as well. Because like you said, the 4 guys who came on all contributed. So
we're trying to build a case, aren't we, for any team to challenge Man City. But if Man City play well and they don't have crippling injury problems, they are still the team to beat. If I had to be a manager and you give me any team or squad of players to manage at the moment, I would still take Man City.
And presumably